Hey Tiger fans, Mark Fitzpatrick at the Tiger Club of Kansas City. It's Tuesday, February 11th, a very special day here. Father-son team of Pat Forde, senior college writer for Sports Illustrated, and Mitchell Forde, who follows the Tigers on PowerMizzou. I am not standing in a hole here. These guys are just a little taller than I am. We covered a whole lot today, and you guys did a fantastic job. Mitchell, I'm going to start with you. New football coach, how's the feeling on campus and around the athletic department?
Yeah, well, every coach is going to be beloved and excited until he loses a game. But there's definitely a bit of a buzz with Eli Drinkwitz. He really seems to get social media. He's very energetic. You know, that video of him went viral after Mizzou got Ennis Rakestraw over Alabama and Texas. He took a little jab at Arkansas in his signing day press conference. He seems to get it. He seems to be pretty personable, and I think that's something that Missouri needs to try to put some people in the seats.
Pat, from a national perspective, how does it look for the Tigers and Eli Drinkwitz?
Well, yeah, I'm going to give him a chance. You know, I mean, the coaching search was kind of all over the board. It looked for a while like it was going off the rails, and I think Eli was a good save. You know, he's got a lot to prove still. He's only been a head coach for 1 year, but it's a pretty promising year, and he came very well recommended for his work elsewhere. Good offensive mind. Mitchell alluded to he's got the personality to, I think, sell the program. He's going to win the offseason. We'll see what he does in the fall.
Okay. One topic that came up today was all the legislation and senatorial investigations of the name, image, and likeness.
Yep.
I know you've been following that very closely. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what comes out of this. I mean, it is go time for the NCAA. They've dragged their feet for however long in terms of coming up with a solution for how to better compensate athletes, and they've dragged their feet to the point where the politicians got involved. State-by-state legislation started popping up, so now it's going to Congress nationally, and I would not be surprised at all if we see a national bill soon proposing some pretty dramatic changes in the compensation of student athletes and to the advantage of the players. They're going to be starting to get more compensation.
Mitchell, you as a former athlete, a swimmer at Mizzou, what are your thoughts about that, being around athletes in all sports?
Yeah, well, like I mentioned earlier, you know, a lot of people talk about it being potentially the death of Olympic sports. You know, there's certainly concerns about where the funding would come from, but I don't believe in this instance it's coming from, you know, scholarships of those sports. And I know of at least a few local examples off the top of my head who I really think could have benefited from that. Mentioned Sophie Cunningham and Jaden Cox, two Colombian natives who were absolutely at the peak of what their fame's ever going to be as student athletes at Missouri. Even, you know, Michael Chadwick, a guy I swam with who was a very good swimmer there, he definitely could have benefited from, say, giving lessons. So there's certainly an appeal even for an Olympic sport athlete.
One thing I want to ask both of you, Mizzou moving the SEC, they've made a big investment in facilities over the last few years. How do they stack? You both visit a lot of schools. How do our facilities stack up nationally? Pat, will start with you.
Well, nationally, I think they stack up very well. Now, within the SEC, you could have the 20th best facilities in the nation and be 12th in the SEC. You know, I mean, every SEC school has built basically everything you can, and I think Missouri's probably pretty close to it. I mean, there may be some more things they can do, but eventually you max out from a facility standpoint, and you have to sell something else. I mean, you have to have it. You can't be behind, but you can't get further ahead anymore after a certain point. So I think Missouri stacks up fine. I don't think there's anything there necessarily that people are going to see that's going to say, well, they don't have that at Georgia, so I'm going to go to Missouri, or they don't have that at Auburn. But at least you're comparable to everybody else.
Right, yeah, and I don't know if you've even seen the new South End Zone facility, but it's pretty nice, the football facility. I mean, like you said, I think it makes them competitive, and that's what you want. Like, you're not lagging. There's not a lot of things you say, well, you know, X school has that and Missouri doesn't. They don't have a miniature golf course like Clemson, but I don't know that that's necessary. You know, you have enough to compete, and now it's up to you know, the head coach to sell the program from there.
Okay, last question. I know both of you guys are big Denver Broncos fans. You're still welcome. Can't say. What do you think of your new quarterback?
Hopeful. You know, having Drew Lock there, it is fun. I mean, somebody who's a Mizzou guy, and you know, he was there when Mitchell was there, and you know, I like his demeanor. I think he feels like he should be an NFL starting quarterback and should be a star, and I think that helps to have that confidence. I think he's going to have the work ethic to go with it. He's got the arm talent. We'll see if he can learn the game mentally, but I give him a chance. It can't be any worse than Denver's quarterbacking has been lately.
Very true, very true. Yeah, I mean, I think he walked into a pretty decent situation just from the standpoint of being a second-round pick instead of a top 10 pick, which is where people thought the Broncos might take him initially, because a lot of the expectations were off. They brought in Joe Flacco, that didn't work out, but at least gave him time to kind of learn and develop and not get thrown in maybe before he was ready. And they need to do some work to help the offensive line in front of him, and he's still going to have to probably contend with some bad games every now and again. But I like he said, he's got the arm talent and he's got the work ethic. He comes from a good family. I'm very optimistic.
I hope 14 games a year he does great. He's tough to root against. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming out.
Thank you.
As a 1977 Mizzou journalism grad, I am humbled. Class of 87 and 17, correct? So it's great to be here with you. Hey, you can follow Pat on Twitter at @PatForde, F-O-R-D-E, and Mitchell is at Mitchell Forde. So make sure you check them out. They're great follows. Folks, next week our speaker will be Peter Baugh, who covers the Tigers for The Athletic. For more information, including on our upcoming golf tournament April 20th, please go to kctigerclub.com.